sitting around television sets all across the nation, and these large crowds that were gathered in Times Square, looking at TVs through store windows, watching Apollo 11 lift off, as the American people answered President Kennedy's call in 1962 to send a man to the moon and return him safely to Earth in this decade. Not because it was easy, but because it was hard. And I was reminded of the sense of wonder and awe that we all felt in those days as this young nation, not yet 200 years old, this nation of immigrants, achieved something so unimaginable just a few decades before. Barely half a century after the advent of man's flight, America reached the moon, sending brave men 250,000 miles into the darkness of space in a spacecraft so crude its computing power was less than your average cell phone today. And I recall the great feelings of pride and the optimism that we all felt for the future. The sense that the people of this nation could accomplish anything we set out to accomplish. The future was limitless, the possibilities endless, and the dreams infinite. The most common saying of the day was, well, if we can put a man on the moon, why can't we fill in the blanks, right? Why can't we repair all the potholes, cure the common cold, cure cancer? And we answered, we can. We're Americans. Have patience. The future was ours, and the world was in awe.
That's right.
And today, as I travel around this country and meet with and speak with different groups, the sentiment has completely changed. The most common saying I hear today is, I fear for my country. Why? How is it that in 4 short decades, a nation that once owned the future now fears the future?
Complacency.
We are a people who rose up against the mightiest military in the world and formed a nation.
Yes.
Don't tell me we no longer have that spirit or that courage.
That's right.
We are a people who emerged victorious in 2 great world wars that liberated continents from tyranny and oppression. Don't tell me we don't have that spirit or resolve. We are a people who emerged from a Great Depression to become the most economic powerhouse in the world. Don't tell me we don't have that spirit or that drive. We are a people who lived under the threat of nuclear annihilation for 35 years and yet defeated the greatest threat of all in communism. Do not tell me that we no longer have that spirit or that determination. Those qualities are part of our DNA. They are who we are as a people. We have not lost that spirit, that drive, that courage, that resolve, that determination. Our leaders have. We do not today have leaders worthy of this state or this nation. We do not today have leaders worthy of America's heritage or America's greatness. We do not today have leaders who will speak with truth to the American people. And where there are no leaders, you must lead. The people must lead. And if the people lead, the leaders will follow. On June 6th, D-Day, 1944, General Norman Cota was witnessing the slaughter on the bloody beach of Omaha. He knew that if those troops did not move inland, if they did not get off that beach, that the invasion of Normandy would fail. He went up to a group of soldiers who were huddled for safety and said, "What outfit is this?" The answer was the 5th Ranger Battalion. He said to them, Rangers, lead the way off this beach. And the Rangers did. At great sacrifice, they breached the seawall. The day was saved, and the liberation of Europe began. Rangers lead the way soon became the motto of the U.S. Army Rangers. Rangers lead the way. Do not fear for your country. Lead the way. Watching that documentary, I was also reminded of the words President Kennedy spoke in his inaugural address, when he sent a clear message to the world, when he said of the American people that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe in order to assure the survival and the success of liberty. By your being here today, you are sending a clear message to those who hold power in this building and in Washington, D.C., that the people of Texas will pay any price, bear any burden, make any sacrifice, use any means necessary in order to assure the safety and the sovereignty of the state of Texas, and to return our federal government back to the principles of the Founding Fathers and the Constitution of the United States of America. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that the federal government is guilty of violating every principle of the United States Constitution and of abrogating the sworn duty of elected officials to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States from enemies both foreign and domestic. It is increasingly clear with each passing atrocity, with each assault on liberty, that the current federal government must be viewed as a hostile power which represents a clear and present danger to the American people and the American way of life. Legislature to nullify any and all unconstitutional acts by this reckless, irresponsible, and dangerous federal government. The eyes of the nation are upon Texas. The hopes and aspirations of so many call out across this land, and we hear their plaintive cry. Texas, lead the way. America, we hear you. Texas shall. We call upon the people of all states to recognize the true nature and intent of those who now hold power in Washington, D.C. We call upon the people of all states to come to the aid of your country. We call upon all people to understand the threat and the danger that it poses to the American people, the American way of life, and the peace and safety of the world. When President Kennedy spoke half a century ago, he was sending a clear signal to communist and Marxist regimes around the world that in defense of liberty, the American people would fight them and defeat them. And fight them we did on battlefields both real and ideological. And there are graveyards around the world which hold